Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. So I have some superstitions revolving around numbers. So you may remember that sometimes when I have a big event coming up, right, a job interview or a first date, one of my favorite games to play is to randomly draw cards from a deck of cards to see what kind of interesting numbers show up and see if it warns me of anything. Now, one number that I routinely see all the time, sometimes twice a day, I have a tendency to look at the clock at exactly 9:11, either AM or PM, for some reason. And today I actually saw it twice. Today is Saturday, and I was struggling to get out of bed. I've been working on art for many days in a row, and so I kept tossing and turning on the bed. And I looked; it was 9:11 AM. And just a few moments ago, I look again, and it's 9:11 PM. I don't know why I have a tendency to do that. It always gives me a nice sense of comfort, though, because I've always seen the clock when it's 9:11, and good things usually happen in my life, so it's not bad or anything. When we first learned about COVID 19 and social distancing, six became a very lucky number for me because 6 feet was what we needed for our distance. And I really liked it when there was nobody bothering me. Everybody was at least 6 feet away. It gave me a nice comfort. And ever since then, six has been a really lucky number for me. I had a job interview on March 6th of 2023, and I did very well there. And I usually try to choose six for various dates, right? The 6th month of the year is June. A lot of good events in my life have happened in June. I went on my first date with myself, and among other things. And I can't really name them off the top of my head right now, but June is usually a pretty lucky month for me. Now, I sometimes get very psychological with numbers as well. So we all know that when we go to the store, a lot of things are 99 cents or 2.99 or something because there's some psychology behind it. The nines don't really affect me that much. I intuitively think of 99 cents as a dollar. I don't think you could trick me very much with that. But there are numbers that seem heavier or lighter than they really should be, right? So I live in Phoenix right now. Right now, gas is going for, depending on the gas station, anywhere from 320 to 350. Now, what's really interesting is that threes, for some reason, really catch my eye. So in my mind, 340 seems like a lot more than 330 because it's more than 333. It's kind of weird, right? I will go out of my way to get gas for 333 rather than 335. I know it sounds weird, but it's a psychological barrier. I sometimes, even though I'm not broke anymore, I sometimes still like to put only a few gallons of gas in my car if I feel like I could get a better deal later, even though it's not really worth my time. But I just get very psychologically anxious when I see those big numbers at the pump for some reason. And I think gas stations are kind of aware of this. Have you ever noticed lately, compared to 20 years ago, compared to 30 years ago, nowadays, when you go to the gas pump, it is so convoluted to get the pump to start, right? They have trouble reading your card. They ask you a bunch of questions, your zip code, and sometimes it doesn't accept what you put in there. Sometimes the pump accidentally shuts off. You got to insert your card again. I think it's a psychological trick. I think the gas stations realize that so many people are living paycheck to paycheck and only putting in 2 gallons of gas when they get to the station, that they want it to be a huge hassle to get gas in the first place so that you'll actually want to fill up your tank rather than, tomorrow I got to do this all over again, right? I think it's a psychological trick that gas stations are employing. Please let me know if I'm correct. It could, maybe I'm just imagining it, but I really feel it's a psychological trick. Now, I noticed another psychological barrier recently. So you guys know that I've been working on my art project, and now I have a secondary career. And I was looking at my finances the other day, right? I want to see how I'm doing with my art career. I also I'm an adjunct professor at a community college as well, right? And I wanted to see how my money is doing. And I recently hit an interest. I won't say the number here, but a certain number in my savings account, and it felt so good to be above that threshold. I mean, it wasn't like I saved a lot of money last month, but I just happened to cross this barrier that made me feel so much more at ease with my money. It might have only been a few $100s difference than the month before, but it crossed a certain number that maybe, let's just put it that way. And one of the main reasons I wanted to have some money set aside from the fact that I'm going to have to replace my car in the near future, is that when I go in to negotiate my work, right? So I teach at a community college, and I'm negotiating next semester's courses. I feel at ease to say, I would prefer whatever course, whatever schedule, and it's not do this or you're going to starve. It's like, how can we make this work for my long term? Right? Too often, I end up taking things for the short term, right? So that I don't starve tomorrow at the detriment of my long term career, right? In the past, too often I've done that, right? And I don't have to do that anymore. But this past week, I got a huge boost in motivation because the money in my savings account just happened to cross this one number. It is just so, it's a psychological thing, kind of like the 99 cents, right? And so certain numbers have emotional attachment to me more than they deserve for some reason. This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.